We wanted to start at this episode with the unfortunate news of Matthew and Johnny Gaudreau, who unfortunately passed away last week due to an unfortunate incident with drunk driving. They both played NCAA hockey at Boston College in 2014. Johnny was from 2012 to 2014, won the championship in 2012, and then Matthew from 2014 to 2017. Johnny, of course, the Hobey Baker Award winner in 2014 as well. And our thoughts are just with their family, friends, and loved ones after this horrible tragedy. Welcome back to Rise in Red, Season 2, Episode 1, the SFU Hockey Podcast, presented by Scoff's Hockey Shop and Cioffi's Meat Market in Deli. We're back at it again. Mark KʷikʷəĽ, head coach of SFU Hockey, Nick Torn, the broadcaster and host of this podcast, and Jake Frederick, who is the producer, and pretty much anything you see on social is Jake Frederick. Mark, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Just trying to make sure my audio and camera work good. I'm agree with the iPhone setup today.
Sometimes you just got to make do. That's kind of what you've been doing recently with SFU Hockey. Obviously, the non-conference team doesn't have an association or anything, but let's touch on, it's kind of your second year of officially doing this. How was the summer and training camp? 14 new players, a couple of D1 transfers, some youth sports transfers, a pro player from Europe, and a lot of junior A.
Yeah, I mean, it was challenging to kind of put things together, but fun. And, it takes a while to get things in order from April, May, June, July, but the recruiting, the scheduling, all those good things kind of line themselves up, and you kind of plug away. Could we get a couple more games? For sure, but we'll try. But yeah, the recruiting, the new faces is very good, and happy to have these guys on board.
What did you like from training camp? Yeah, I know you guys have been going through it recently. Is there stuff you like, stuff you wanted to improve on? What are you excited for heading into the first few games of the year?
Yeah, I think coming out of last year, we wanted to really focus on bringing guys in that knew what it takes. Commitment level's got to be the standard. Off-ice training had to be paramount as they came back. And, you're going to get the normal hiccups at camp where some guys just don't end up coming. A couple guys go somewhere else. We already have an injury. So it's one of those things that you hope that guys are ready to compete, ready to play, and come with a mindset that obviously you're here for school. We know the education is great, but you're here to play hockey. And that's step one in building what we want to build to be able to compete with the teams we play against.
Yeah, and you're starting it right off next week, September 13th, against UBC. You played them a couple times last year. They went pretty deep. They went to the quarterfinals in youth sports, being eliminated by McGill. But you haven't played them since last September, and it's the first of 3 this year. How are you feeling going against UBC now with, again, a bolstered roster?
Always good and fun to play them and Trinity as well as crosstown rivals, but we're excited. They give us an opportunity to play them, and again, they're at a pretty good level and one of the top teams in Canada West. So hats off to them for doing what they've done the last couple of years. The bottom line is they've got a good bunch of guys who played major junior who really play a different style of hockey. They definitely are a little bit bigger than us. And so we've got to figure out ways to play fast and tempo and in your face and be aggressive. And I think that's the key to anything, but I think we've got to start that right away next Friday.
Yeah, it's at Bill Copeland. We're going to want to fill the bill for that one. And then the weekend after that, on the 20th and 21st, taking on Trinity Western. Trinity Western is still going through those growing pains of joining U Sports. They were 4-24 last year. And you actually beat them in one game last year as well. That was a 2-0 win over there. But WU holds the record against SFU 4-2 since they left the BCIHL.
Yeah, good program, good coaching, good guys over there. I think we're ready to take on 2 U Sport teams in a 4-week window, a 3.5-week window, and we've got to be ready for both. I think they're both going to have similar players in the sense that they have major junior guys floating in and out. And again, I think Trinity They're definitely in the process of building something good there. Walter is a good guy. I played at a high level, and I think he knows what it takes to run a program. So we're just excited for the opportunity to play these teams at home and get some good games under our belt before we head east.
Yeah, a lot of big games for you this year with another schedule, and it's jam-packed this year. Some people coming here, and a lot of travel still. How are you prepared going into next year after last year, knowing what the travel and the games and all it takes?
Yeah, I think you just figure out when to do certain things, how to push guys at a certain time, kind of make sure you're doing all those things to prepare yourself to get on a flight, fly 4 hours, lose 3 hours on the time change, get up, eat properly, get on the ice, work, and then get your rest. I think making sure you manage your body and doing those things is really important for us. I think the systems and the X's and O's and the fitness levels of our guys will be fine. I'm not worried about that. They're young. They can cope with that. But I think it's just managing their time is really important, especially when you fly, like I said, a lot of the time on the red eye and end up in a city early morning and then have the whole day ahead of you and figure out how to balance that is really important.
Well, lots of travel, lots of games to be had. And certainly as this season goes on and this podcast goes on, lots more information coming up when we officially get underway in the season of the non-conference team. But why not just jump right into dump and change? And since not a lot going on in the world right now, a lot of sports are starting. Mark, I'm intrigued to see your way too early NHL and NFL predictions. Season of the NFL is just getting underway, and the NHL is still about a month away. But let's start with some NFL predictions there, Mark. How do you feel?
Well, I'm a tortured Cowboy fan. Obviously, my high school days were brilliant because they were winning Super Bowls back then. But it's going to be tough. Obviously, my heart says Cowboys, but I think it's going to be tough. Obviously, the Chiefs are probably primed to maybe win another one, but I do like the way the Lions played last year. I think they might have shot themselves in the foot in the NFC Championship game.
They did.
Always gonna say the Cowboys are gonna win the Super Bowl, but if I had to choose a couple other teams, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say the Lions and the Jets would be my next two favorites to watch, and hopefully they win. There you go. I just can't cheer for any of the other teams. That's why.
The Jets, hey?
What?
Yeah, we're going New York Jets. We're going to bring to Herm Edwards, and you play to win the games, Torrin. Come on. You're
playing to win the game. We all know. We all know. Okay, Mark, first of all, I saw a very funny meme that was like when Jalen Hurts was born to the time now, he was born, learned football, went to college, graduated college, did all this stuff, reached the NFC Championship before the Cowboys had reached a championship since.
No, I know. Hey, look, like I said, I mean, those high school years for me were very, very good. I mean, that one year, I think the Canucks were in the Stanley Cup against the Rangers.
94.
The Italian national team did really well at the USA World Cup with Roberto Baggio and that crew, and that's some sentimental stuff for us. And obviously, I think the Cowboys beat the Bills that year, second straight. So, I mean, Irvin and Emmitt Smith and Jimmy Johnson, those are my guys. And growing up as a little kid, the Cowboys were. But it's hard for me to cheer for the Niners, or even though I'm a Joe Montana fan and I appreciate what he did, and I can't cheer for the Eagles. And then, the Dolphins, the Patriots, I'm glad to see them in the bottom now because I think boring. And they're like the Chiefs. I don't know. I just don't like the Chiefs. That's all.
Okay. I'm going to put the New York Jets under the surprise performances category for you because I think that's wild. I don't agree with that at all. If I'm going to choose, I do think the Chiefs have a real good shot to three-peat here. I think they are one of the teams to beat. The AFC is tough, though. Cincinnati's very good. Buffalo's very good. And, well, the Ravens aren't looking so good right now.
Cincy's good, too.
Yeah, they're good. So, but if I were to pick a Super, I'd probably go like Chiefs and Lions. I don't think you're crazy to say the Lions. I think the Eagles will make the NFC Championship as well. But I think the Lions will do. And I don't know. I feel like the Chiefs could do this repeat. If there's a team to do it, it's them right now. But my surprise, I think the Atlanta Falcons are going to be good this year. Revamp their defense, revamp their offense. Kirk Cousins, baby.
Yeah, I think Pitts becomes a pretty high-end tight end now with a quality quarterback.
Hopefully. God, I drafted him so many years in a row, hoping nothing. Okay, but that's something. I don't know if I know more than I think I know more about the NFL personally, but let's get into the NHL predictions. We're still, again, a month away from this. Training camps are just getting underway. So give me your hot takes. What's your President's Trophy? Non-playoff teams to make it in this year? What are the best lottery odds teams? Who's going to win the East and the West? And who's going to win the whole thing? Are you going to make Jake happy or not?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I said this last year. I said I liked what the Canucks did at the beginning and in the playoffs, and I'm okay with their moves. Obviously, they lost a little bit on the back end, and there's a question about goaltending being injured or not. But I think they're fine. I know Edmonton is obviously the big dog in that, but I don't know if they did enough on the back end. I mean, that's just my opinion. Obviously, I think there's some teams that did well in the draft and might surprise some people. I really do. I think there's some good hockey to be had in this next year. I think some teams might, some of the sleeper teams might come out of nowhere and shock some fellas this year. I mean, I think you have to wait, though. I think you have to wait, and you can make all the crazy assumptions with free agency and teams building. I think you have to wait till that mid-November American giving, see who's who.
So you're not going to make an outlandish pick on who's going to win the Stanley Cup right now?
I'll say the Canucks.
Oh.
Right now.
That warms my heart, Mark.
The Cowboys and the Canucks and the New York. That's where we're going with this.
See, it's your NFL predictions that make me worry about the NHL predictions.
So Mark has picked the Cowboys to win. He's picked the Canucks to win. And breaking news, the sky is still, in fact, blue.
Yeah.
So.
That's where we're going. So, hey, I got to hold on to something and might as well just at least enjoy and be frustrated and get mad and watch my two teams during the next 5 months.
Yeah, I really don't know who's going to win in the NHL. Like it's kind of wide open this year.
Devils, I think, are going to be good. I think people got to watch out for them.
Fair enough. We will put a pin in this question, maybe closer to the start of the season or a little into the season to get Mark's true opinions on who's good and who's going to win. But Jake, I just want to ask you specifically, your man was signed to an obscenely high contract. How do you feel about this? And where does Connor McDavid come in?
Well, he could have gone to the market and commanded 17.
Oh, easily.
So I think getting him for 8 years of 14, especially with the cap going up, I can't complain about that deal at all. I think that also kind of says to the team, like outside of Connor McDavid, okay, the big guys are staying. And I don't think that Leon signs an 8-year deal if he doesn't have a very good feeling about Connor staying too.
I'm not saying
that's how I feel about that.
I would agree with that. But what number does Connor come in at? I can't imagine it's any less than 16.
I think 16 probably is where he lands.
Obscene.
I'm sure there are going to be guys who, I'm sure there's going to be stories coming out where it's like, oh yeah, he wants like the max, which like under the cap, the way it is going to be like 17 and a half tops. But yeah, I think he could come in at 16. And then by that point, so the whole, like everyone's freaking out already around like Edmonton media, Toronto media. They're like, oh my God, like the Oilers are going to be in cap hell. Like once they get these signed, because like they're big contracts. By the time that Connor is signed, if he signs for 16, you're going to have Bouchard in at 10. So that's your three main guys. That's your core. And that's $40 million on three of arguably the top players in the league. I mean, Bouchard, some people say he's still growing. He's still not there yet, but defenseman putting up 80-point season, that kind of means something. But if you can't put together a competent roster with $60 million with those three at the top, shouldn't be in the business. So
I've always said, if you are paying an obscene amount of money in a salary cap hell and you do happen to win the championship, none of that matters.
Doesn't matter at all.
Well, right. You're right. Because winning cures everything, I guess.
It sure does. If the Canucks had won the cup when they were in cap hell, I wouldn't care at all. I would have been like, that's great. We did it. So I don't blame the Edmonton Oilers for what they're doing if it means winning a championship.
I just don't know if you're spending 30 on two, and then like you said, if Bouchard's going to command close to 10, that's 40 schmil on 3 players.
No, don't forget Nurse at 9.5.
But would he be off the books by then, or?
I don't think they're getting rid of him.
No.
I think the only reason they get rid of him is strictly as a cap casualty.
Yep.
I also think that he's probably going to have a better season this year because on his own, he's very good. On his own, Cody Ceci, also pretty good. Something about when they're together, they had a hard time. So I think the fact that Chris Knoblauch is no longer tempted to put Darnell Nurse and Cody Ceci together, he literally cannot put them together anymore. I think that'll bode well for Darnell Nurse because I'm sure they're great buddies off the ice, and I'm sure you watch them individually, they're great players, but together just something didn't work.
Fair enough.
See soon enough.
Well, we will see. The NHL season's fast upon us. Had to give a good like to Canucks Instagram being like, they're back. I was like, yay.
I also had to post a "we're back" post, except we're in our 3rd week of skates now, so
yeah, it's close enough. Close enough. But so I guess this will all be wrapped up here. Very exciting for next week. Everybody should come to the Bill Copeland Sports Center to watch the game, but we'll be on YouTube, and we'll be back with more Rise in Red, the SFU Hockey Podcast, brought to you by Scoff's Hockey Shop and Cioffi's Meat Market and Deli. We'll see you again real soon, and enjoy the ice, everybody.